Hello. Can somebody please tell me how we went from the 60s radicals, anti-establishment, anti-American, pro-communist people became the establishment? How they do that? That isn't. I mean, how do we go 180 in like 40 years? It's been longer than that, but a gradual process over 100 years, really. But the headlong turnover of everything. I mean, in 1980, I was in the Air Force. Ronald Reagan was elected president. Um, the 60s radicals were still considered, you know, domestic enemies, you know. Uh, but they're now the establishment. I always thought it was funny how the 60s radicals always hated the establishment and talked shit about the establishment. And it seemed like everything that they were saying about the establishment wasn't true. And I've been thinking in recent years that now the radicals have become the establishment. Now the government is acting like they claimed the establishment was back in the day. You know, I mean, we fought a Cold War against this kind of government, this is antithetical, I think the word is, to American values. This whole socialism slash communism thing. I mean, we're essentially like Europe, where you have two political points of view, both don't work, and I mean, establishment is the establishment, and you have the choice of two sides of the same coin. That's why Europe's never going to get out of their death spiral. I mean, the communists don't work out, so they elect a fascist. Like, gee, fascism sure works, doesn't it? And then fascism doesn't work for a spell, and then they elect the communist again. And they don't work out, so nobody wins. And everything keeps on spiraling downward because nobody's got the option of liberty, of freedom, like we have. But the establishment here is trying to douse that and make us like Europe, where we have a choice between failure or more failure. The express train to hell or the local to hell. They don't have the option of not going to hell, not going into communism. And they keep on thinking, oh, well, when you point out that it hasn't worked anywhere, they keep on saying, well, it hasn't been done right. Yeah. It's insane how everything's turned around. If you're a pro-American, pro-Constitution, pro-God, normal, traditional American, you're now a radical. Because the radicals are in charge. I mean, I think that MacArthur guy in the 50s was right. He just made too big a deal about it too early. He should have set up, kept watching these people, watching what they're doing. Wait till he really had a major case, and then spring it. The guy kind of like do it on the sly instead of doing it in public on TV and make himself look like it's all about him. Because he was right. For over 100 years, these political ideas from Europe that have failed every time they've been tried, they've been trying to get them over here. And the reason why it didn't work and took so damn long is because we don't have a class structure like other countries. You know, other countries you're born poor, you're going to stay poor, whatever. There's no fucking way in hell you can work your way out of it. There's no capitalism or free enterprise, you know, that can get you out of it. You're so limited in what you can do. America wasn't that way. You could be born dirt poor and die a rich man. And in the history of America, lots of people have been born dirt poor, got rich as hell, and lost their fortunes and died dirt poor again. Or got another fortune and then died, you know what I mean? The opportunity thing. There's no opportunity in other places. The opportunity of free enterprise can really improve everything for the world. It could be the savior of the world, really, not just the United States. I mean, we were called the Great Experiment. If this worked out, this idea of people being sovereign over themselves and running their own lives and being free to do their own thing, if that worked out, it would be the model for the New World Order. Even back then they were thinking that. But the weaknesses in human beings, you know, you start giving them stuff. You start giving somebody something that they otherwise would have to work for, they will become dependent upon the government. Then once again, government is the king and the ruler of your life. And that's not what America is about. That's why it's taken so damn long to get to this point. And now, they're like 50% of the people are taking stuff, while the other 50% are producing it. And we're at a point now where, you know, these two worlds can't exist together. Something's got to be done. We got to go one way or the other. And one way's death, and the other way's, you know, life. We keep going to where we're going now, we're doomed. And I'm not so sure that everybody really understands that there's an opportunity out of this. Free enterprise. Free enterprise is illegal. That's why the people in the inner city, the poor neighborhoods that have been run by Democrats forever and run into the ground by Democrats, they have no job opportunities, and they seek the black market to subsidize their meager government earnings or wages or whatever. I mean, you know, welfare, whatnot. People of low income can't survive on what the government gives them, so they need to supplement their income by criminal activity. The black market is what only thing that remains of free enterprise. No taxes, no regulations, no rules and whatnot. You have a product and or service, you have customers for it, you're good to go. But free enterprise is illegal. If it's not controlled and turned into capitalism, crony capitalism, where they can't get their cut, they don't want it going on. They're like the mob that way, you know. They don't want any activity going on, they don't have a cut. So that's why criminal activity exists, because a black market is produced. And that's the only free enterprise there is anymore. You get rid of free enterprise. I mean, you reinstitute free enterprise, get rid of crony capitalism. Stop all the things, all the rules and regulations and crap that keep business down. Liberate business. Encourage business instead of discouraging it. And everybody does better. I mean, the poor in America today live better than the kings of Europe back in the heyday of kings, you know. That's because of capitalism or free enterprise. Capitalism's the curse word for it. Capitalism is the term the enemies of free enterprise coined for it. That could be a way out for the world. Savior of the world. The powers that be, the establishment, don't want that. They want everybody dependent upon the government, so they have more power and control. And I don't get it. Ain't good for nobody except them. And free people can't agree to that. Well, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.